Hi, welcome to the 3D Pen Den. This is going to be the video I didn't think I needed to make. When you want to make the surface of your project smooth, you just take a heat tool and smooth it. There's not much to say. It's pretty straightforward, or so I thought. But lately I see all these questions people have and complaints that they are burning their projects and ruining their tools. So perhaps there is something to talk about. So let's talk about it. And if you are planning to try this, stick around to the end for some troubleshooting tips. When you want to make anything with a 3D pen, it's at first pretty rough. And you can definitely make various rough textures intentionally and leave it that way. If you decide you want it smooth, you can either bake it, and the video on how to do this is in the description. Another option is ironing it. But you can do these things only to flat pieces that will be shaped later. There are moments, like when making small, intricate sculptures, where nothing but smoothing will do. If you put this in the oven, you will just end up with a puddle of plastic. So take a wood burning or some other heat tool and start smoothing. And as you can see, things are going pretty well. Until they don't. If your tool starts burning the plastic and leaving behind a mess that just keeps spreading and spreading, and the tool gets all black and crusted in bubbling plastic and smokes so bad it triggers your smoke detector, there are only two things you need to do to fix it. Turn down the heat and clean your tool. And I suppose I should explain what I mean by clean and often. You can only control heat on tools that have a heat control. If the tool is made for burning wood or soldering, of course it will burn the plastic, unless it has a temperature control dial. So if you don't have one of these tools yet and are going to buy one, don't even think of getting one without a dial. Some tools are made for working with other things like fabric, so they don't get so hot. But they might be slower because of it. If you already have a tool like this, without a temperature control dial, you can also get a temperature regulator. This will let you use your tool at a certain percentage of its full capacity. So start somewhere in the middle and see what percentage will work for your particular tool. Any tool you get will usually come with a variety of interchangeable tips. There's a discussion out there if the stainless steel is better over the copper ones. I don't think it matters, because it's the excess heat and the plastic residue that is the problem, not the material of the tip. Even if the heat is just right, you still need to clean, and often, to prevent a plastic residue collecting on your tip. My favorite cleaning tool is steel wool, and finer the better, so you don't scratch your tool tips. And you will need a piece of cardboard, because often that is enough to wipe the melted plastic off. Make sure to attach those to your work surface somehow, so you can keep wiping without having to hold it. The plastic will only wipe off if the tool is hot, so don't run the risk of burning yourself. Plus, at this point you usually have both hands full anyway, so it's just way more convenient. Now, if a mess starts happening, wipe the tip until completely clean. And turn the heat down so it stops happening. But as I already mentioned, even if the tool is not too hot, you still need to clean as you go every time you see a plastic residue collect on the tip. Because that little bit of plastic on there will burn eventually as the tool sits and make a mess the next time you use the tool, especially on light colors. This tip is my personal favorite for smoothing, but there are many tips that are good for this, and the size and shape will also obviously depend on the size and shape of your project. The round ones you can roll around, which avoids making too many flat facets that will need too much sanding. So feel what's right for you. You want a variety of tips for different projects. This is a tool for quilters, made for ironing fabric. And it's a bit slow for a smoother, but it's relatively safer against burns. Still have to clean it though. When selecting your tool, you want to check that it will go a bit above the melting temperature of the plastic to be effective smoother. Now for a few last but important notes. Heat tools and sharp tools slip quite often, and this one is both. So please wear a glove on the hand you are holding it in. Never ever clean with your hand holding the steel wool, even with a glove on. It's way too hot for that. Another safety issue is that most of these wood burners come with totally flimsy, lightweight, inadequate stands that will slide off the table and burn the house down. So throw them out and find something stable that will do the job, and don't forget to turn everything off when you are done with your session. Also, keep all heat tools away from filament coils and, more importantly, any power cords. Just saying, because been there, done that. Lastly, 2 simple things that you can do to fix your project if you do burn something. You can scrape it off with a hot knife. And yes, clean it immediately. Or you can sand it off, which takes a bit longer, and most likely you will need to do a little bit of both. But it is usually quite fixable. So happy sculpting! Stay tuned, and until next time, go and make something.